Tonight, testing increases, but no new coronavirus cases detected in Broken Hill. And breast screen services set to return to the Spencer Gulf.
From our 7 Spencer Gulf studios, your nightly news with John Hunt begins now.
Good evening, everyone. The Far West Local Health District's Chief Executive says coronavirus testing has increased in the region over the past week. But he's confirmed there's been no new cases detected in the Broken Hill region.
It's been almost a whole month since 2 COVID-19 cases were confirmed in the Far West. Since then, it's been all quiet.
We still have no further positive cases, which is really good news.
Local Health District Chief Executive Umit Agus revealed total tests conducted in the region are in excess of 500. The decrease in the testing threshold to blame for the jump in numbers.
What that really means is that we want people to really not take for granted any symptoms that they may have.
The Far West Local Health District has also carried out almost 5,000 coronavirus screenings. Like many hospitals across the country, restrictions have been put into place to limit visitation numbers and monitor who comes and goes. Mr Agus says it's important that even though coronavirus cases are slowly reducing in most states, the precautions are not lifted too quickly.
A good example is Singapore, who were leaders in terms of actually having flattened the curve, now are getting reports of over 1,000 people a day being positive. So we want to avoid that.
The community has been thanked for only leaving the home for essential business and for following social distancing rules. Patrick REINCKE, 7 Spencer Gulf News.
A cold blast is swept across the region today, bringing with it a massive downpour and dozens of lightning strikes. 22 millimetres of rain was recorded in Louth Bay, while Port Lincoln got a soaking with 30 mils. Last night's winter weather saw isolated thunderstorms and hail batter the region. The menacing storm front is expected to continue tonight, with emergency services on alert. A 53-year-old man will appear in court after being caught allegedly driving more than 4 times the limit in Kadina Tuesday evening. Just before 6:30, patrols received a tip-off regarding a suspected drunk driver. Police stopped the vehicle on the Copper Coast Highway, where the driver allegedly recorded a blood alcohol reading of 0.221. He was reported for drink driving and also lost his licence on the spot for 12 months. The call for cheaper petrol prices in the Spencer Gulf is gathering support. Member for Giles Eddie Hughes has written to the ACCC, expressing his anger at the current situation.
Voicing his disappointment over the cost of filling up the tank, Eddie Hughes has taken his concerns to the competition watchdog.
Something is clearly not right in communities like Whyalla, in communities like Port Augusta, when it comes to petrol pricing.
He sent a letter 2 weeks ago calling for an investigation.
The ACCC need to carry out a thorough investigation, and if there are any breaches, come down really heavily on these major retailers.
The RAA says while rural areas are no strangers to high prices, the current ones are not justified.
So they've dropped the price to get a market advantage over the others, and the others have gone and gone, well, we're not going to drop our price because we think people will still pull up and pay our price.
And has some advice for those needing to fill up.
Once you see those sort of price differences, or even small price differences, don't reward the high price people by pulling in there. Pull into the cheaper one, even if it's a cent cheaper.
The Labor MP says price gouging during a major health crisis is unacceptable.
Is not acceptable, and especially at this time with COVID-19 and all the other pressures on the people, to see people in our communities be ripped off is just not on.
Laura MILOVANOVIC, 7 Spencer Gulf News.
A Port Lincoln cricket club says it's fed up and frustrated following a series of break-ins over the past several months. The latest attack last Thursday was caught on security cameras, leading to the arrest of 3 teenagers.
Under the cover of darkness, 4 youths quickly get to work. Vision captures a security screen fly off its hinges as hooded thieves smash their way into a Port Lincoln club room.
Had rocks through the window and, we'd been vandalised.
Once inside the Tasman Cricket Club, the thieves turned their attention to the bar, rummaging through the fridge and drawers, the sweet-tooth bandits making off with cans of soft drink.
Extremely frustrating, yeah. It was, it took a half day out of my day, having to be down here while we wait for the place to be secure again.
The incident happened last Thursday just after 10:30 p.m. Police have since charged and arrested a 14, 15 and 17-year-old with serious criminal trespass.
Inquiries are continuing to try and identify the fourth person.
It's the fourth time in just 6 months the Tasman Cricket Club has been targeted. Members say they're fed up and frustrated.
Disappointing that it's happened again, but we're very thankful that we put in cameras.
The security system helping catch the thieves red-handed.
It's allowed the police access to see who's broken in, certainly much quicker, and helps them try to identify. Quite often they might know who it is.
Questions are now mounting over why these teens were roaming the town at night.
It's very disappointing. Be it the teenagers, it's, I think they should be at home and tucked up in bed at 10:30 at night almost.
If you're allowing your children to wander around at night, then you don't know who they're mixing with.
Nathan REGTER, 7th Spencer Golf News.
Still to come tonight, upgraded mobile breast screening vans set to visit the Spencer Gulf. And Regional Express receives a boost from the Broken Hill Council. Welcome back. Women across the Spencer Gulf will soon have access to the latest breast screening equipment. Mobile vans equipped with new mammogram technology will soon tour the region, with women encouraged to get checked.
For the president of the Whyalla Pink Spirits Club, early detection is crucial.
Quite often when you have early breast cancer, you're not even aware that you can't feel a lump. So it really is important to go and have a mammogram.
Having had breast cancer herself, RAELENE says mammograms can be the difference between life and death.
Really why so many of us these days survive, because of the early detection.
With South Australian government coronavirus restrictions easing, the mobile screening services will restart. Breast Screen SA encouraging women to make the most of the new technology and client comfort, with improved design features and image quality.
We're very excited about the new equipment that we're rolling out across the fleet at 8 of our locations, including the mobile units.
The mobile vans are set to travel around the Spencer Gulf later this year.
There's a slight delay due to the impact of social distancing, so our appointments are longer. It is extremely important that our clients in the regional and rural locations take up the opportunity when the mobile comes through, because of course the risk of getting breast cancer is 1 in 8 in our community.
SOPHIA KONTOGONIS, 7 Spencer Gulf News.
South Australian councils across the region have welcomed the news of the state going 7 days in a row without any new coronavirus cases. Whyalla City Council says although it's pleased with the outcome, it's not a time for locals to become complacent.
It is very important that the community continues to follow the guidelines from SA Health, and this is very important to ensure that we stay safe within our community.
The federal government is encouraging locals to download the COVID Safe app to keep in touch with the latest updates. Broken Hill City Council will defer outstanding fees owed by Regional Express as it continues to try and stay in the air amidst the coronavirus. The decision coming after the airline was given federal funding to help provide flights to regional centres like the Silver City.
Doing what they can to make sure Rex continues to take off.
Rex is currently, like every airline, struggling.
The city's councillors deciding in their monthly meeting last night to provide support to Regional Express, the sole air service to the town.
We've actually said we'll defer that interest-free for 12 months, re-look at it later, and we're going to write to the state government to see if they can also support RECs at this stage.
The Mayor saying Regional Express is a top priority and believes the government should be involved. The compromise ensuring council's accounts don't take a major financial blow.
We know that we're going to be, we're really going to struggle. All the hard work we've done over the years, it's a setback. It's intergenerational now.
Councillor Tom Kennedy's motions to bring forward the council elections to this year after their postponement was defeated, as was his push for meetings to return to the local chambers and returning the city's waste facility to normal operating hours.
At this stage, it's about resourcing, and at this stage, we still have to make sure that we can still deliver essential services such as pick up waste. So a lot of our staff are being retrained just in case.
Patrick REINCKE, 7 Spencer Gulf News.
No jab, no play is passed South Australian Parliament, preventing young children without immunisations from attending early learning centres. Local health authorities say it's also a timely reminder for residents to get their flu vaccinations.
In a bid to stay healthy as we battle COVID-19, getting vaccinated has become a top priority.
We can try and protect them and by having them vaccinated. It also reduces that transmission of them coming home and obviously transferring to the parents and other babies, newborns.
Supported by both major parties, local leaders are also welcoming the no jab, no play policy.
Early childhood centres and kindergartens will be able to exclude young children that haven't had their vaccination programs in an attempt to safeguard those kids.
Parents will have until early August until the law is put in place. Children under 6 are vaccinated in order to attend early learning centres.
The other states have already had all of this in there, and look, I'm a parent and I'm also a grandparent, and the welfare of our children needs to be the foremost in our image and our minds.
This pharmacist says the laws are a reminder for vulnerable residents to get their flu jab.
The elderly within their 60s to 80s are important in terms of getting the immune system protected against the flu.
He says it's critical for those visiting certain community centres.
Really clamping down on ensuring that people who are visiting nursing homes and hospitals have to be vaccinated against the flu.
SHARI Hams, 7 Spencer Gulf News.
Stay with us. Port Augusta's airport gets a vital safety upgrade, and parents warn to keep an eye on their children's online activities. A 2-stage safety upgrade is now complete at the Port Augusta Airport. New lights have been installed along the runway, allowing for safer landings during low visibility and night conditions.
These small lights along the runway will make a big impact on aircraft safety at Port Augusta Airport.
Basically, it indicates to them, the pilots, whether they're on the correct glide slope for a safe landing at airports.
The 8 signals along the landing strip receiving praise from those in the skies.
Excellent. The feedback from the RFTS pilots and also the charter pilots is it's fantastic.
It was funded by a state government initiative aimed at improving country airstrips, the instalment necessary to comply with safety regulations.
This is what this is all about, bringing us up to the right standard and ensuring we can compete and provide the services required.
The upgrades also having the potential to open new opportunities for the city.
Could open the doors to tourism, further business opportunities and so forth. So it's a great initiative and work well done.
And while commercial flights are suspended, the site remains in high demand.
Excellent time with the suspended flights from RECs. So that it'll enable us to keep the airport operational with the mining charter that we have.
Laura MILOVANOVIC, 7 Spencer Gulf News.
Port Augusta City Council is continuing their infrastructure upgrades around town. Maintenance works are well underway on the coastal path, with some parts of the track now completed. It comes after sections were damaged by extreme heat over summer. The work follows on from recent upgrades at the East Side foreshore and lines Jubilee Park. Police are warning parents to be aware of what their children are accessing online. With COVID-19 forcing them to stay indoors, technology use is on the rise, along with the dangers associated with the virtual world.
A simple conversation which can prevent your child from online danger. This Whyalla Youth Support Group says conversations with children about online awareness is crucial.
I think it's always worthwhile to take a prevention approach, so having those conversations and giving the invite to talk about online use. Things for us at the moment are we're trying to keep them as normal as possible in terms of what we're offering within the centre. So we're continuing to have our youth reference group on an online platform.
Looking through the many support programs on hand, Headspace offering parents and youth support guidelines on how to prevent potential risks online.
About websites or apps they're utilising, having discussions around settings and making sure that young people understand what's happening with their information and who can use that.
As parents and carers, you have the best opportunity to support and guide your children to avoid online risks and have safer experiences.
Police say parents should explore technology with their children and show them where to report prohibited content.
The local crime prevention section encourages the community to go and visit the eSafety and the Think You Know websites to get some top tips for online safety.
SOPHIA KONTOGONIS, 7 Spencer Gulf News.
The Clare Valley Riesling Trail has been a hive of activity, with residents trying to exercise while social distancing. Community members are thrilled with the increase in usage, encouraging others to get on board.
Getting out and about while remaining socially distant. The Clare Valley Riesling Trail has been the ideal location for Mid-North residents to take a break.
Seeing more people going further now, and I'm certainly seeing more people in this Auburn area when I'm down here working, that more people walking around on the trail. Yeah.
This Auburn resident is among those who regularly use the trail.
Place. It's one of the main reasons that I set up a business in Auburn when I found the Riesling Trail originally then. The Rattler Trail wasn't open at that time. Just a beautiful, stunning way of enjoying the valley.
This bike hire business owner has temporarily shut her doors due to the pandemic, but she's still encouraging residents to get active.
We would encourage people to get out on the trails, so very much so. On their own bikes, on their own legs, any way that they can to get that exercise and fresh air.
The Riesling Trail Committee is also working on new projects after recently reaching a major milestone.
A 6-year program to finish this, and what it's done now is to connect the Riesling Trail onto the Rattler Trail to the south, whereas before it was a rather clumsy system. It ended a bit north of Auburn and people had to wander around and find where the next one started.
SHARI Hams, 7 Spencer Gulf News.
Stay with us after the break. Our fishing experts will tell us what's biting in the Gulf. And Britt will have the latest weather details. Hello again. Time for a look at what's biting in the Spencer Gulf over the weekend. Here's our fishing experts with their tips.
G'day and welcome to this week's fishing tips from Port Augusta to Jewel North. Well, real cold snap at the moment, a bit of rain. Generally with a bit of rain, try and get up in the creeks. There should be some salmon at the mouth of the creeks around Chinaman Creek and up around Port Patterson as well. Some nice snook around. Big news, lots and lots of squid at the moment going around. Really big off the jetties at night and also try around those middle banks. And also there was a big leatherback turtle spotted around the Gulf as well, so just keep an eye out for that one. Should be some nice King George whiting starting to rock up as well, out in the bottom end of the Flinders Channel, down towards Whyalla Harbour as well. And also there's been the odd mulloway sort of out in the middle bank as well. So that's all we have from the Jewel North.
G'day guys, welcome to another week around the Gulf fishing tips from Port Pirie. It's amazing, this break in the season is just what we've been looking for. The King George whiting will be out in numbers, but you won't be able to get out there amongst them this weekend. The weather's not going to prevail pretty good. Sunday might be your best chance, and the weather forecast at the moment says about 23 kilometres per hour on Sunday. I wouldn't probably tempt it. This weekend's a good time to stay at home, tie a few rigs, get ready for King George whiting. Also get yourself your squidding instruments all ready so you can go chase those. And I think next week when you get into the water, I would be looking around the Third Creek patches for King George whiting, also around Rinnor Island for some of the later fish that are still be floating around with the yellowfin whiting. They're still there. That's all. We'll see you next week.
G'day and welcome to Fishing Tips in Port Lincoln. Well, there's been a few reports coming in, even with all this wild weather. There's been some nice squid caught within the bay. Numbers are on the improve. Boat fishers have been getting them up along the north shore, out around Boston Island, and there have been some squid caught by land-based fishers off the town jetty and off Stenros as well. There's also been a few snook around locally. They've been caught off the town jetty and also by boats in our local bays. And best reports of whiting this week have been from Carcass down to Thistle. There's been a few tuna out around the cages as well, outside of the lease sites. That's all for this week. We'll see you again with more tips next week.
And with a look at what's happening in the weather, here's Britt.
Thanks, John, and good evening. Today saw mild conditions about the region, Port Augusta recording a top of 17 degrees, Port Lincoln 16. Woodnor, Whyalla, Port Pirie and Adelaide all reached 15 today, Kadina 14, Broken Hill with a top of just 13 degrees. From the satellite, yesterday's cold front is now to our east, leaving behind speckled cloud and a cold air mass triggering showers and storms. To tomorrow, and there's a strong wind warning for the Spencer Gulf, with southerly winds tending southwesterly at 20 to 25 knots. There's also a warning to sheep graziers for the lower and eastern Eyre Peninsula, York Peninsula, Flinders and mid-north forecast districts. Strong winds at Port Lincoln tomorrow, with showers most likely in the morning and afternoon, looking at a top of 17 degrees. Cleve, showers and 16, Woodnor 17. A medium chance of showers at Whyalla, otherwise partly cloudy and 18. Port Augusta and Kadina both with tops of 17, the latter with winds of up to 50 kilometres an hour. Showers at Port Pirie 16, Clare wet and windy 13 the high, Broken Hill partly cloudy and 14. Taking a quick look ahead at the weekend and into next week now, partly cloudy at Broken Hill on Saturday with showers expected elsewhere. Maximum sitting between 18 and 20 degrees. Sunday looking mostly fine apart from showers about the Eyre Peninsula. Port Augusta, Whyalla, Port Lincoln and Kadina all with tops of 19, Broken Hill just 14. And finally to Monday with fine and partly cloudy conditions expected across the region. So John, showery days ahead, but that wet weather is looking to clear by next week.
Thanks, Britt. And that's the local news this Thursday evening. Thanks for joining us. I'll have updates later and we'll be back tomorrow night at 7 p.m. On behalf of the entire news team, have a great evening. Good night.